Hi everybody, welcome back to Vintage Story, episode 58 with me, Sid, and yes, your eyes do not deceive you, you now have Vintage Story on a Monday, because our Magica is no more, it is deceased, it is gone, and we are going to 2 episodes of Mana and Brass a week from the server, so I moved the second episode of that to midweek on Wednesday, which means that they're nicely distributed through the week, and it brings Vintage Story to here. And last episode, we tried to get clever. And we tried to build a drifter farm that would work for temporal storms. Whoop, no, that's the wrong. I don't want to sprint, or I'll end up down that pit. How's he gone? Now, the practical upshot was a bunch of very, very unpleasant drifters were in here, and I came down here and I got the snot beaten out of me and only barely escaped with my life. So luckily they have despawned, and I think what I am going to need to do is come up with a different plan of action. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is bring this wall out a little bit. We're going to bring this out, we're going to make this a 2 wide pit all the way around. We're going to stick a couple of trapdoor points in to con them to think they can cross, because apparently that technique works in Vintage Stories as well as it does in Minecraft. We're going to stone the floor, because apparently that will stop them spawning. That is not, get the floor stoned. That is place stones on the floor. And apparently that will work. I think I will probably keep some stuff on me while we're at it, but I want to have I want to be able to go down into that pit and have a little bit more space between me and them. Yeah, that's the idea. So first thing I am going to need wood brick. Nah, wolves. No. $20 should be enough for now. I probably need to go out and harvest some more ruins, if truth be known, but things. Now, I'm not immediately going, it's green, run away into the thing, because the temperature is quite cool at the moment. So, for example, these have got a maximum -1 to 40, -10 to 32. So a lot of these I could actually plant, and they will probably do okay. -12, -5, -12, -5, -5. Now, what I didn't do was get to check how cold it was at the earliest point, but these are definitely moving forward for their flowering, so that's a thing. And these are all reasonably hardy too, so I can probably start thinking about planting those. But I really want to get some more temporal gears, because what I would like to do is make 2 more of these. One more of these, but maybe in bronze if I can do it. I may even go up to the trader, buy a bronze tool that I can melt down to get a bronze to make the thing. I know it seems a little bit long-winded and counterproductive, but such is life. So we'll... Come on, get me up. And, oh man. Right. And then we should be alright to over here, here, and here. Well, I'm going to need to, if I'm going to widen this, I'm going to need to come around like this for starters. And that's going to need to come out one, because I want you to come down one. Which means that wants to come out one. That'll give me a little bit of dirt to do that, which then means I can do this. Oh, and that needs to come out as well, doesn't it? That's right. So with a 2-block gap, there'll be a every time I hear him get stressed, I always panic that he's somehow managed to find a way out. Which is probably a healthy reaction when there's a grizzly bear in a pen. But just knowing he's there is terrifying enough, I think. Says a lot, doesn't it, that I trapped him and now I'm terrified. And I mean, there was a reason why I trapped him there, and that's because I wanted to find out if it would stop them spawning in the area, because there's apparent. Well, depending on which source you have, there's a limit on the numbers that can spawn. So, if I bring this down like so, and then let me just try something. If I go like, well, I'm going to have to come out to do that, and I'll swap these out later. Can I reasonably reach, if I come down, let me just, oh, it's my shadow that's freaking me out. Okay, I can stand back here. If I had them further back, would I be able to reach them? It's a very good question. And I'm not entirely sure that I know the answer. But we have really got nothing to lose from it. So I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 trapdoors. I'm going to need some slabbage. And I'm probably going to want to go slab and then bang bang and fill this up so they are still in this space, but they are no longer in a position to hit me when I'm in the space with them, because you know that is a surefire way to upset somebody. I also have these stones because stones are always good for the pittage of doom. I must admit I'm very tempted to have that as well, but right now we'll just grab a little bit while we wait for the world to get a little bit more thawed. We'll do a little bit of croppage and everything will be good and happy. That's the theory anyway. Oh, bum. So I use the terra firma craft, restricting my ability to have floating dirt blocks, that I forget you can do that in this. I mean, it's an option to not have it, but by default it's there. But that will come there, they'll drop down, that's all good. Let me go and get, what did I say, 2, 4, 6, 8 trapdoors and a slab of some description or flavour. Right, I'll grab that, be back in a sec. Okay, so I've popped a slab, and I said a wooden slab, I didn't have any others there, and if I do that, apparently, much like Minecraft, that will fool the drifters into thinking they can cross at that point, and they'll fall in, which suits me fine. It also conveniently doubles as a bridge for me, so I can get across easily enough. I don't know whether I'm going to be able to climb up there. I may need to do something about that. But certainly you can come down here. We're now a goodly distance away and there is no visibility. So I should be able to give them a good scene too. For want of a better phrase. So yeah, that's where we are at. I don't know, I can hop up there, so that's all good. Now the question here is, do I go with the tried and tested? Apparently the slabs are not perfect, and I think we've kind of heard that, because I've heard things spawn on the roof before now. Or do I go with the method I have, which is, 4 blocks, block myself in, nothing can spawn, and nothing should be able to spawn where I'm stood, which is of course one option. And what I will do is I'll leave all of that dirt in the box, because I don't need it back at the room. And yes, I see you there. We really do need a name for him, not that it matters, and he doesn't care, he'd just rather just eat my face. So I think the next thing to think about is probably sowing these crops. So I've got in this one now, these are nutrient P, which are 50%. Now I noticed that the nutrients haven't recovered over the winter, and I'm not sure what I'll be honest, the mechanics for nutrient recovery I am not 100% certain on, but I would have thought it just takes a certain amount of time. So what have we got there? Parsnip seeds, which will go all the way down there nicely, and the same again. And then nutrient P, we've got Etho's favourites, onions. Okay, I'm going to and we can actually, oh, dead growing rice. Can I get any? Oh, I can get the seeds back from that. Dried from too low temperatures. Now what are those? Those are nutrients K, which are the ones which have been leached from this soil anyway, so they're not going in here. They're doing their bit. So then we can go, I think K is in the garden around that side. Let's go have a look. Yes. big garden, lots of things to plant. Let's start off with the rice, and these are full on K. Yeah, so you can tell this has been used for nitrogen on this one, whereas this is potassium. Is it phosphate is P, potassium is K, I think. It's been a long time since I've done any chemistry in anger. It's actually it's funny because the other night I had to assist a family member with a numeracy test that basically tested numeracy equivalency to our exam systems in the UK. So if you're from the UK, you'll know that we have exams here called GCSEs, which are General Certificate of Secondary Education. And when I was at school, there were two sets of exams. There were O-levels, or GCE O-levels, and CSEs. So General Certificate of Education, if I recall my acronyms correctly, which probably don't. Oh, that's a lot of flax. We'll put that flax away for a second, and we'll get the carrots. And I was amazed how much the way that maths is taught has changed in my lifetime. You know, some of the questions, the maths I understood, but the way they asked the questions made it really bloody difficult. And yeah, it was just very interesting because it was like a new language, like I'd never seen the subject before. And yeah, I I often joke about my accounting and my numeracy, but I am not. I have fairly good numeracy when in reality I work with numbers and figures and large figures of money and all sorts of things every day, and statistics, looking at percentage. I used to be a statistician years and years ago, so you know, numeracy is actually not in reality my weakness. But yeah, it was interesting. It really was interesting how the way the education had changed, and English as well. I mean, the way we learnt English. I mean, I'll be honest. I don't think I've ever really been formally taught grammar. About the most I ever got was, stick a comma in when you want to breathe, and when you finish the set of saying what you want to say, full stop. I couldn't tell you the formal rules for commas or semicolons or any such thing, to be honest. It is, in some respects, quite shocking, I suppose. But yeah, it was just an interesting experience. I came out with a literacy level, certainly a numeracy level that was equivalent to A's at a GCSE, which is of course the new standard. And if you were paying attention to the CSEs and the GCEs, you'll notice there is a similarity in the way that those phrases can and have been joined. So yeah, it was just interesting to see that, and I do understand to some degree why parents are terrified at the idea of the kids coming home and going, "Mummy, can you help me with my homework?" Or "Daddy," either. Because it just goes to show how little we know. And speaking as a parent, there is to a degree all parents will probably sympathise this one, and that is that your parents know everything. When you're growing up as a kid, they're like your superheroes. They know everything. They know how to do everything. They sort out your problems. If you've got a problem, they'll know how to fix it. And then, of course, when you grow up and you become a parent and you realise that now you've got to fulfil that role, it's terrifying. Because now you realise that you've got to actually sit there and, what's the word I'm saying, appear omnipotent and omniscient and omnicognizant, and you basically got to become like this homework god from, you know, things. Because in your eyes, especially when they're little, that's when they look up to me. As they grow up, you know, once a teenager, it's like, you know nothing. You've got no idea what it's like to be my age, rah rah rah. Completely forget that obviously we were that age once ourselves. And quite frankly, I've on occasion with my old children, I've quite surprised them with the idea that yeah I did that. What? Yeah, I did that. Went gigging, went to clubs, tried this, tried that, did the other. And it's quite refreshing when you see the look on the faces going, oh, you do actually have a clue what it's like. Spelt seeds, rice seeds. Let's start off with the turnips. Make Baldric proud. So yeah, it's an interesting one, and for those of you who don't have kids yet, that's one to look forward to. So yeah. And you'll know what it was like, what you did to your own parents. To be honest, I should be ashamed of things. Rye and rye. Let's bring those in then. Do that over here. Anyway, I'm going to get these planted. I've got the pumpkin seeds to get planted, and I'll replace the dirt on those, of course, which means I will need to go back and grab a hoe out of the house. We're going to be some time, because we've only had one day since the last temporal storm, so we may need to head out and do a little hunting around. I may also, because I know there's wolves and stuff out there, the bear, I'm not going to try and, if I find a bear, I'm going to run away from it. You know, that's as simple as. And it's probably the wisest course of action, if truth be known. Right, let's just try and keep these on separate lanes for starters, and then I'll merge them over if I need to. Yeah, anyway, let me finish doing this. I will see you once I've got the last of the crops sown, and I'll be back in a mo. Alright, it's the next morning. I stayed up late cooking meals, so it is midday already. I had a good lie-in. But after that winter, I think I deserve a good lie-in, you know. I managed to get everything planted except for the... I forgot I made that farm. The pumpkins, and I actually managed to cock up on the pumpkins because I managed to destroy the water source, which of course I've just you fix like that, but simple enough. And then we can hoe these before they get out of hand, as that other one did. I mean, you know, those weeds grew overnight, literally overnight. And then let me just check. Your temperature's -5 to 40, so these should be fine. I just hope we get a decent return on investment, because if they don't grow enough pumpkins, you end up out of pocket. Because it is surprisingly one seed per pumpkin. Now, I can only assume that the authors have never seen a pumpkin before, because they definitely have more than one seed per pumpkin. Still haven't figured out how I'm going to get and separate these guys out. Now, the first generation, and they do need some more food, the first generation of sheeps were sheeps. And I don't know what this generation of sheeps is, whether they are boy sheepsters or girl sheepsters, because at this point they're just cute and fluffy and don't have any of the telltale signs that say I am going to be a boy sheepsters. Although, mind you, they all have horns, don't they? So no, I've got no inkling. These are, what's my thing on? These are definitely getting to the point of flowering, and I would like to, well, don't put this hoe away, I'd like to just quickly take a pop up to the trade, because I think he may be ready for trade again, but he may not while we're in the area. And then I think I might have to head out and get a little bit adventurous, even if it is just, you know, oh, it's not journey map, it's map. Even if it is just coming out to some ruin somewhere, which I don't think there's much left. I mean, we've got lead up there, which is not going to help me. Coal over there, which could help me. Sulphur there, some blue clay. There are copper, and I am going to need to go and get more copper, but obviously the further, the more of the local things. I've got my little way stations as well. There should be another one. Where are you? You're there. Thought I had another one. Up here. Or have I just completely lost the plot? There, yes. But first things first, let's just go and see what old Trady's got up at the hill there. And also whether there's any signs of Mr. Wolf yet, hence why I'm armed and ready. I have repaired my armour a little because it was really getting ratty, and the Gambles has a downside that it affects, well, it increases the rate of hunger, so I will go through my food faster. It reduces my movement speed and it reduces my healing speed. So there are a number of downsides to wearing heavier armour. The plus side is it reduces the amount of face that gets chewed off when you're attacked. And again, the downside to everything being, well, the plus side is everything's nice and green. The downside is I can now not see certain things like wolfies and stuff as comfortably. Oh, you've got the full set of trades. You're taking, I need to make a note of these. I might as well go and get a spend. But you've got a recurve bow as well, which is actually very cheap considering how much I spent for it. I don't want to, I mean, yes and no, you know, it's kind of a thing. Bronze amulet, black bronze spear. Right, let's have a look. What do you actually want? You've got rye you want 4 of. Svelte you want 5 of. Flax you want 5 of. And rice you want 6 of. Don't even know they've got that much rice, to be honest. Everything else I'm not really interested in selling you, and I am interested or intrigued at the idea of trying to smelt down a bronze tool for bronze ingots. So that could be a mechanism, a way forwards, if you like, to getting that sorted. But it's quite, I mean, the settlement is really starting to come together. I do need to do the pigs, and I am conscious that I am putting off doing the pigs because I think it's going to be a complete right royal pain in the bum. Just because there's only one I'm aware of down at the bottom end of the lake, and kiting him all the way up is going to be no fun at all. And of course, one pig is no good for nothing. And if I find a second pig and it's the same gender, then, you know, ain't gonna help, is it? So doing the breads might be a way forward, and basically just having a look at the bronze. Yeah, I think that's probably a way forward. So let's go. It's a bit of a dull way forward, but it will move us in the right direction. So what do I want? 4 lots of 8 rye bread, which is 8, 16, 32. So that is, I need exactly 32 rye. Okay, start off with that and work my way forward. I just want to test this grinder. I know it's kind of crazy, but there you go. Anyway, I'll be back in a short while. All right. Not all right. Hang on. I was getting excited. I was premature. We've made the rye bread. We've made the rice bread. We've done the 2 R's. The other 2 are requirements are for 32 to 40 loaves each, and it's a bit of an awkward number to do because you tend to get 32 out of a single heat of the oven. Although, yeah. So in my experience, you know, you want to do 32 and 32, and then the last 2 8s on another heat. But or I mean, I could do another oven and. What was that? I did hear a sound. But this should get us to the point where we can at least go and make ourselves a quick 11 gears, which, you know, not be sniffed at. And then there's 10 in the remaining. If I miss it, then there'll probably be a bread trade anyway, so not the end of the world either way. I do need to go and fill the troughs, so we shall quickly go and grab 32 of one grain or another. I'll feed myself because, you know, all dying of starvation and no play makes Sid a dull boy. And where are we? Let me grab that. We're going to eat that one. Nom nom nom. Oh, I'll be back in a second. All right. So what we are going to do is I'm going to run out here. I should also make sure I'm properly armed. It's only been we're not going to get a temporal storm for a while, so I'm going to. Oh, those are cute. We'll give you some, and we'll give you some, and that should keep you happy for a while, so that's all good. My saplings are growing nicely. There's stuff going on here, which is all good. Let's head up to see the trader and get rid of those 2, and 2 minds about whether to spend the gears now or wait. And I need to, in fact, let me just go and check something. I'll be back in a second. Yeah, I just wanted to double check what the thing. So the actual durability of the teleportation runes is 1,000 for copper 1500 for tin bronze, 1750 for bismuth bronze, 2000 for iron, sorry, 4000 for iron, and 10,000 for steel. Now, obviously, iron is a pipe dream away, and steel only exists in my fevered imagination at the moment. Actually being able to make my own bronze would be a fairly major improvement, but I'm not sure whether the work involved in breaking a tool down is sufficient to merit things, and especially because we've got black bronze, you've got bismuth bronze spear, yeah, tin bronze 9 and 9, so I mean, yeah. So that gives me 10, that's correct. So I've got another block of those, but the only thing there is a bismuth bronze spear, which, see, black bronze is actually better than things. So tin bronze, 4.3, 4.8. So, you know, I'd have been better off buying that. I'm not going to spend this money. I'm going to keep it. Which is totally out of character for me. I'm definitely one of these that does I like a spend. I think it's fair to say I do like buying things. Tempting. Will just come out. What I'm actually wanting to do is improve my berry stock. That's a goat, a sheep thing, monster, beastie, it's a hooverator. Did I completely dig up that? Must have done. But of course, it's great. I feel so much more liberated now we're back out in the world and able to there's a drifter, but the chances of getting much out of a surface drifter or even one of the low rank drifters is pretty low. But the question is, those are leaves, they're not bushes, and I think all of your cranberry bush. I want blackberries. What the ones that stack basically, and if I go and grab you, for example, your cranberry bush, it doesn't stack, they only go so I suppose I could get them because I can always use them for hedges. And while I'm out this way, makes a certain amount of sense. What time is it? It is 2:18. We don't want to be too long out and about before we go back, but always nice just to get out and away from everything. Cranberry bush. A lot of this is just leaves though, unfortunately. But how do you mean? These are just all birch leaves. Quite difficult to tell the difference when they haven't flowered and they haven't got berries on them. Nice view. It's nice to get out. Certainly, I think we'll just have a nice screenshot just to prove that we actually got out of the house. Yes, It's like having a teenager, having your mum going, "Come on, get out of the house. You've been in that room all day." But we're not going to get a lot more done this episode. This is I really do want to test that grinder. I think I'm going to have to do a little bit of fertiling around the area just to try and find that's a berry bush there. Just looking at them, they're not obviously very different, but this is, I think, a full block, whereas that is not a full block. So yeah, they'll come in handy for something, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm really unsure about what to do, whether to push out. I mean, what I want to do is get to a certain point and then basically push off in a direction and really push for, you know, some 9,000 blocks south, see whether we can find a southern point. What I would really like to do is get there, stick in a teleporter and a room network so I can then create those. But if it's 10,000 blocks, it's not going to be waystone kind of teleportation where I can go pop over there, do whatever it is, pop back, do whatever it is, pop over there, do whatever it is. It's going to be almost seasonal. Where heard something. What did I just hear? It's going to be almost seasonal where you go down there in the winter and you stay down there and then you come back at the end of the winter season to basically take advantage of the climate. Yeah, I've not walked through this bit of the wood for a while, so I am going to stop rattling quite so. Blueberry bush, you are a non-stackable again. We'll have them. Birch leaves, blueberry bush. Yeah, they don't. There is definitely a difference here. But now, yeah, now I've kind of got my phobia on. Because I've heard far too many unpleasant noises from around my home. I'm not desperately worried about wolves. I think I can cope with most of what a wolf can bring. I am somewhat more concerned about burrs, Gaturi burrs, which for those of you who are not from Yorkshire is how you say great hairy bear with a Yorkshire accent. It's a Gaturi burr. So there you go. That's my language lesson for the day. I use the word language loosely. Not really seeing much else in the area, but it is just nice to have the plants cropped. Can I try that again? To have the crops planted. Plants cropped. I don't know what my mind was doing there. And to to be in a situation where we can, yeah, so that's black currants, that's red currants, and that's white currants. So it's currant bushes that I want for the vineyard area. And this, that's blueberries, that's cranberries, that one's blueberries. So we can come down here and just put a little hedgerow like that, and it just gives it a little bit of character without. I'll leave it there. I'm going to come over that side, just skip for the tree. Yeah, without getting too busy in the area, if that makes sense, because this is obviously all of the blueberry plants I've got. So, and then when we come around here, you know, we can perhaps pop a few there as well. But realistically, I think next episode we are probably going to have to go on a journey. Now I use a lot more leather than I've just made there, so I'm probably going to have to man up and start killing a few things as well, or hunter up maybe. Man up being perhaps the wrong phraseology. But yeah, on that note, thank you very much for watching, guys. I will see you soon. Bye for now.